Thought I'd take a look at Amcor, the big packaging group, reaffirming its fiscal 2022 outlook this morning, launching an extra $200 million share buyback set to begin in August. This is the packaging giant confirms it's seeking full year adjusted EPS growth of between 7 and 11%. Net sales up 12% in the first 6 months of the year to nearly $7 billion US. Shareholders will also get a 12 US cent per share dividend. Amcor shares dipping a bit this morning on that announcement. Henry, what did you think of the update and Amcor's stock price?
Well, Koshi, let's face it, the only people who get excited about packaging are kids on Christmas morning, and they get more excited about the packaging than the presents inside. And there's nothing very exciting to Amcor, really. It has relocated in some respects to New York with that acquisition, the $9 billion acquisition of Bemis. The thing about Amcor, and the thing that is interesting, is that it touches so many of our lives with all its packaging, if you pardon the slight pun there. And it is all about controlling those raw material costs. And you know, although we're seeing inflation in Australia, and yesterday we had the RBA talking about inflation, you know, not being too much of a problem here as it is elsewhere. This is the world's biggest global packaging company, and clearly it is seeing the effect of raw material increases, and that is something they pass on to customers, as we know, but it doesn't make them the most exciting stock growth-wise in the world. They are looking at emerging markets. They're also looking at medicines and the packaging there, meat packaging as well, to sort of grow their business. But it's not the most exciting of business, is it? Let's face it, we don't get that excited about packaging most of the time, and it is all about those raw material costs. For me, at these kind of levels, it's a hold, but it's more interesting to look through at what's happening in the real world with packaging costs and being passed on to consumers, which we're all seeing. So here it's a hold. It's not got a bad yield, 4% roughly. The dividend is in US dollars, so that kind of wings around a little bit, but there's no franking involved in that. I guess, you know, if we do see the raw material costs come down and those packaging prices can stick, there is a bit of growth there. But for me, it's just a bit dull, a bit boring, and yeah, it's a hold at best. There's nothing very exciting about Amcor, to be honest.
Carl, are you excited about Amcor?
No, I'm not very excited at all. But you know, hey, I don't mind dull and boring. I don't mind dull and boring for the right type of investor that's I guess really risk averse, looking more for capital stability than to shoot the lights out on their investment returns, because you know effectively that's what they're living off, or that's what they want to leave behind. I don't know why you do that, but that, you know, right stock for the right investor. So dull and boring is good, but it still needs to be the right price. And look, Amcor, whilst it is probably a very stable stock, I just don't think it's cheap enough to buy. I'm with Henry on that. There's not enough growth in the business, I think, to justify the current valuation. It's only at 14 to 15 times current year's earnings, but you're probably looking about 3, 4. If I was really optimistic, I could put in my spreadsheet 5% growth per annum for the next few FYs. So not enough to get excited about on that basis. Just in terms of why, maybe for people who have the stock, they're wondering why it's down today. And it is mainly to do with they've reported an increase in sales, about 12% increase in sales. So on the face of it, you go, well, that's a really good growth in sales. They've reaffirmed their target of 7 to 11% EPS growth, and on the face of it, that looks pretty good. But they're kind of achieving that through these price increases. So if your sales are up 12%, but you increase prices by about 15%. There's a little bit of a disconnect there. So if they can't continue to increase prices, and they're still they're still trying to do that. The rhetoric is we're going to, wherever we can, try and recoup these prices. At some point, you're going to get to the stage where the end user will just say, no, look, we will just not pay that, and then your demand potentially falls. So I think that's the risk for Amcor, and I think that's what investors are reacting to today. But I'm with Henry. I'm not even sure if I'm a hold. I'm probably just I'm a pass. I don't think you need to own it in your defensive portfolio, and you certainly don't own it in your growth portfolio either.